Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Fidel, for joining me today. I'm super excited to have you here. As you know, we're all in different places right now with what's going on. And so this is just a collaborative space where, with all the social distancing, the self-quarantining, the 6 feet apart, we can still be connected by heart, together at home, friends and family,
Yeah.
and find the support that we're looking for. So I would love for you to just share who you are, what it is that you do. I know you wear many hats, and what lights you up, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, let me just say thanks for even bringing me on and being here in this, for having an amazing conversation and just to share and connect and talk about things that are just so important right now. And I think where we're going to go and wants to come up in this conversation, it's going to be huge. But let's just dive right in, right? So as far as me and a part of who I am is has nothing to do with like the things that I do, but who I get to be and who I am.
Mhm.
So usually when someone asks me, so what do you do? I always try to lean and come, it's not about what I do, but it's about who I am, who I get to be. And that embodies a couple of different things, right? And maybe even after this, they were like, oh, that's who Fidel is. It's just Fidel. That's probably the biggest compliment I can probably get, or a big like, hey, that's Fidel, you know. So you know, I'm a father. I'm a father of 4 kids. I've got 3 daughters and I've got 1 son. I'm a husband. I'm also a proud military spouse. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a coach. My background is in just coaching and embodiment, and you know, I'm a body worker. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm all of these things combined. I'm first generation Americans. I'm some Jamaican. I'm half African. I'm like all of these things, right? I'm high energy. I'm passionate, and I care. I have a huge heart. And that's who I am. You know, someone who just wants to live life on purpose and create space for people to do more than live life well, but to thrive. So I'm on a personal mission to encourage, equip, and empower people to do exactly that. Where it's not just all mindset, but it's their ways of being and the ways of living and tapping into a place where they find flow, find embodiment, find alignment, and be able to create a life of sustainability where they can make an impact, live the life that they want, be limitless, and in a way have it all, you know, without, you know, having to like hustle and push, but
Mm.
enjoy the life that they have where they are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And I love how you said
So
that's just Fidel, because it's so true. Even hopping on this call, I'm like, it's Fidel. Like, and I will say from from being in your presence during retreat, you can totally feel that. You know, there's so much that is said through just being, especially when you're present within yourself and you know who you are and you know what your core values are, and you're
mm,
that deeper emotion of content from deep within, and you can connect to that. So I will say, just being
yeah,
in your presence in that during our retreat, you could feel that, and even the energy that emanates. So thank you for, you know, for sharing that, because I think
yeah.
it's so important for people right now, right, during this time.
It, if I'm honest with you, it wasn't always this way, or it couldn't always. For a long time, I felt like I couldn't just be myself. You
Yeah.
know, it was like there's someone else that I needed to be. You know,
Mhm.
it was a way that things needed to do. I needed to do business a certain way. I needed to father a certain way, and it was like this place of just feeling like wearing so many different hats. And it's been a journey of just taking off these layers and learning who I am for the first time, and saying at the end of the day, it's about what's here in this heart space, and I have to be obedient to what's in my heart and to be who I am, and
Mhm.
hoping that if I can just be who I am, that I'll be accepted. But I've learned along the way that if you're not who you are, you will never fully be accepted if you're not fully expressing that, because
Mhm.
there people are accepting that part of you that you're sharing, you
Yeah.
know. And so through that journey of learning to be myself, and what has this unfolded from it, that's probably like part of the heart vision right there, is
Yeah.
I want everyone else to be themselves and give permission for others to be themselves and demonstrate what it looks like and what is possible when you actually lead with the heart and you come into this place and you just get to be you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. So for you, what was that pivotal moment or feeling or
Mm,
aha thing that allowed you to not just accept who you are, but to I guess be put on that path towards being you,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. what comes to mind right now, it took my life falling apart. The carpet being pulled from underneath me. Everything that I thought that was going to be a particular way, for me
Right.
to wake up and look in the mirror one day and be like, who in the world am I?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, this was I don't know, maybe 9 years ago when became a military spouse and then
Mm-hmm.
moved away from friends and family, and I lost my job.
Yeah.
And I'm in this place of like, wow, I had my dream job. I thought things were going great. And
Mm.
it was that time when I learned that I had no idea how to manage my stress, like all these different things. And I just got to the point where I was just like sick and tired,
Right.
and I had to find some faith, to be honest with you. And
Mm.
and I started enrolled in some schooling. That's when I started to get into some of the holistic work and body work and just mind body stuff. And I'm
Right.
on a brand new path. And I got to this point where I realized that I wasn't enough,
Mm.
that like I could not continue to operate the way that I've been operating, and there needed to be something. I needed to put my faith in something. I needed to just rely on something other than myself, because I was feeling like I couldn't even rely on myself. I didn't even know what that was. And
Right.
there was this place of surrender.
Mm.
And the image that came to me in that time was, I've had this fig leaf that I've been hiding behind my entire life, trying to cover myself up, trying to be a particular way, trying to not be exposed, not be vulnerable. And
Mm.
it was this image and really a decision that I made in that moment. And it came to me, that image of that fig leaf. Like, I'm ashamed of who I am. And I'm just trying to cover myself up. And I made a decision. I said, I'm going to remove this fig leaf. I'm going to like just put it down to the side. And I don't know what's going to happen as a result, but I'm not picking that leaf back up. I can't. I need to know what's going to happen here. So I put that leaf down, and it came to like in this image, and then that was like my beginning journey of true vulnerability, of being
Mm.
exposed. And it was like this place of, okay, I don't even know what this looks like or who I am, and I don't want people to quite see me, but I'm not putting the leaf back. And learning to get uncomfortable in that vulnerability and in that exposure to eventually be able to stand up in that. And when people are pointing fingers saying, oh my gosh, I knew you were this way all along, I get to look at myself and say, it is true. And just like everything that I was fearing, all my insecurities, my vulnerabilities, my strengths, my weaknesses, when I really looked at it, it was like, and it's true. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to be ashamed of it anymore. I'm like, yup, now what?
Yeah.
Now
And
what?
to that point, that's
And so
amazing.
that's
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah. And to that
Yeah.
point, it just makes me think of like, once you learn the truth, you can't unlearn it. So once you, not just,
Mm,
but once you get to know the truth within you, within yourself as a person, you will continue to hear it and it will become louder and louder. And that vulnerability piece is huge, because that's something that is so scary before, like thinking about it before you actually get to that point in your life. And when you experience that vulnerability, you know, paired along with the truth that exists within, that vulnerability to let that truth out, and then you let it out, and then you see, and like you got some feedback like, wow, I knew you were like this. I feel like so many of us who've been in that point in our lives, who've reached that rock bottom, who've come untethered and apart, and then starting to pick up the pieces. Part of picking up the pieces is embracing your truth, whatever that is for you. And that can be very vulnerable and scary because of acceptance and whatever and other things. And but once you learn that about yourself, you can't unlearn it. You can ignore it,
yeah.
but you can't unlearn. It'll always be there. It'll always be in the back of your mind and your head. And just kind of like in my experience, what I have felt is once I've learned that piece about me, it just is a voice that gets louder and louder and louder. And then I have that choice. Do I honor it, or do I just keep suppressing it, knowing now I know the truth of what happens when I suppress that. So for people that you've helped, or even within yourself, what came next after that vulnerability piece? Like, what was the thing that allowed you to um like not just stay in that space, but keep moving forward with the next part of that journey to being yourself and embracing your truth?
Yeah. Great question.
Mhm.
From my personal experience, the journey to freedom starts at vulnerability. And I believe freedom and vulnerability go hand in hand. And so it's one step at a time. And every time you just lean into a little bit more vulnerability, you find a whole nother level of freedom. And it's not something you just check the box and you say, oh, I'm doing it. It's literally this journey that you get to grow in, and you get to know what's possible when you do it. And
Yeah.
it becomes, I want to say easier, but you start to understand the process.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, you can unlearn the truth, And there's just so much goodness in there. And you're like, I just want more. Like, what else might be possible if I just lean in? And then when
Mhm.
you go into that vulnerable space, you also, man, you find this place of self-acceptance, and you begin to accept, and you just are.
Right.
There's
Right.
more energy, there's more ease, there's more freedom that comes along with it. And it's just, you, at that point, it's like you just already have arrived, you
Yeah.
know? No, I'm thinking of a yoga pose right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go to break it up. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, and so a lot of the work that I do, it's embodying the thing that you want. Like, I have a gift to be able to see the vision and what someone wants to accomplish, and to like see it in the present moment, like where it's not further out, but how do you bring that in and receive that like right now? Receive the success, receive the business, receive the joy, like all of that right now to already arrive. And so one of the
Mhm.
postures that I like to get into is Tadasana, you know?
Mhm.
And I love this, the name of it, because it's like, ta-da, I've arrived. Like, ta-da, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so making this like, so every time I get there, or we're flowing through something, or I'm just trying to think about, you know, man, I don't feel like I'm there yet. It's this remind myself, no, let's stand up inside myself. I have arrived. And then I stand up thinking about, and I visualize it. And I'm like, okay, I am there. And then I stand up inside myself and I say, ta-da, as
How would
and
you
seeing it
demonstrate
there
that?
and arrive.
How would you demonstrate that for
Oh,
someone?
yes.
Yeah, like, I would love to.
Totally, totally. Literally,
Okay.
yeah, I could even verbally cue this. So
Yeah.
what you do, and you're welcome, I can verbally,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm gonna do it.
So if you want to stand, you can go ahead and do that. And I'm happy to put, you know, share some things later on how to
Yeah.
access this. But you stand up. I'm
Okay.
going to show you how to stand up inside yourself. Okay.
Do I have to sit or actually stand?
Oh, you can stand. You can stand.
Okay,
Whatever
I'm
feels
gonna
right. Part of
stand.
this process
Okay.
is, yeah,
I'm standing.
perfect. Yeah. So she'll just stand as you normally would right now. Okay. And just notice how you're standing. Okay. Begin to face the palms forward. Turn the palms forward. Yes. And feel how the chest begins to open up a little bit, as if you're just getting ready to receive, right? You get to not just go to the next level, but you get to receive the next level. Let it come to you. Okay. Relax the shoulders down and take on, like, if you were to receive right now, what would that posture look like? What would that feel like to receive, to be, to arrive, to come in? Okay. So I want you to imagine that this dream world, that goal, that whatever it is that you're achieving, you want to accomplish in your life, you've now just stepped onto the stage and you're about to be recognized and acknowledged for it. Like, this is the moment that you've been waiting for, like right here, right here. The life you want and all the things is right here, right now. And now you just get to receive. So here you are on this stage, on this platform. Wherever you are right now in your world is your stage. And so now we're going to stand up inside yourself and properly stand. So lift your toes. Just lift your toes up. Feel the four corners of the feet against the ground. Oh, lower the heels, but just lift the toes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, lift the toes up. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, lift the toes up. Lift them up. They're awesome. You may notice the body shift back a little bit, because now you're going to be standing in more alignment. Keep that alignment where your head stacked over the shoulders, shoulders are stacked over the hips are over the knees and the ankles there. Lower the toes, but keep that standing up alignment there. Okay. Notice the body wants to shift forward. You don't have to go forward. You're already there, right? You just have to stand up. Okay. Draw the belly button in towards the spine a little bit. A gentle squeeze. And as you begin to breathe, feel that breath flowing into the body, flowing into the heart space, and feel your light. Feel the energy. Feel what is different. Fingers are spread wide apart. There we go. And be able to root down. And now you're standing up inside yourself. Ta-da! You have arrived. You've made it right here where you are. And just visualizing that, seeing that, and receiving that, and thinking about what might be possible now. Not to have to do more, but just get to be more. For just to receive. But when you shift the body, you begin to shift the mind, you know, getting into body and mind alignment there. So can I ask, like, what did you notice and what has shifted for you?
Yeah, that was amazing, first of all. Even just standing there and like the first cue, like, just standing naturally, and the first cue to just, palms up. I automatically actually felt this like an openness, more of an expansion, like in my upper chest,
Yeah.
like for my throat area. And then And then, yeah, with the other cues to just keep standing taller and toes back, I definitely felt the shift in the movement. But then I just felt this, this ease settle in, like this ease and this acceptance and this energy of just like joy. Like I literally could not stop smiling. Like I just felt like I just wanted to smile and just stand there. It felt really like free flowing within, very and calm at the same time.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and just being
It's
like
awesome.
like basically like I am where I need to be and where I want to be, and it feels great to be here like in this space right now, and just just visualizing for me what that means. And I'm doing it, right? Collaborating, connecting, supporting. I've been doing that
Mm.
probably nonstop through this whole self-isolation, just focusing on that core intent and core value. And so I feel like all of that energy just came within in that moment. So thank you. That was amazing.
That's huge. And
Yeah.
it's because I love that, because you could know something and you could be thinking it but
Right.
not feel it.
Yes.
And there's a difference between knowing and then the being. Like you could know you're loved but not feel loved. You could know you're supported but not feel supported. And
Mhm.
what's missing when getting out of alignment is when you're knowing and then you're doing, but you're
Mhm.
still not feeling.
Yeah.
And so to get in that true alignment space is when, and this is part of the whole vulnerability thing we're talking about. It's when you're thinking what you're believing, but you're also saying what you're thinking, right? You're standing in
Mhm.
how you're thinking, you're speaking what you're doing. It's this whole body mind alignment. So what you think, you say; what you say, you do, right? Like what you do, you receive and
Right.
expect. And it's scary, but it's kind of like I'm gonna fully be me in the moment. I'm gonna fully say the thing. And
Yeah.
then that's where that alignment and that flow begins to happen, and you feel that energy, and it's like, whoa. And
Yes.
then life just begins to work for you. And so,
Right.
so even in the body posture, when we're combining mindset
Hmm.
with attitude
Hmm.
and movement and embodiment, bringing all those things together, where you're not just let me just do the thing, but you get to be the thing.
Yeah, and what's coming to mind as you're speaking about this is just, that's what it means to truly be authentically aligned, right? And
Mm,
I know for
okay.
me, being a body worker for many years, like yourself, now being a body mind coach for the last few months of really diving into that, um, I did not realize exactly what authenticity meant. Like I've always felt like I've been genuine in my intention, genuine in my actions, but
Yeah.
what you're just saying, the feeling piece, there are so many deeper layers, and I have found it super beneficial to be supported by coaches. Specifically, the body mind coaching. I've had support from other life coaches around core energy leadership, which has been huge as well. But specifically with that body mind method and that connection piece is like you were saying, you know, yes, we may be honoring and aligning with our thoughts and our logic or our hearts and our desires, but what would it look like to, completely connect all of that and align with your thoughts and your feelings and act upon all of that, all inclusively. Just
Yeah.
consider like a panel. That's kind of how I think of it sometimes. Like whenever you're trying to make a decision or even just day-to-day stuff, interacting with people, it's like, okay, notice and hear what your head brain is telling you to do. You're structuring, you're
Yeah.
organizing, you're figuring it out voices. Notice and feel what your heart is telling you that it wants, right? And then I say download it, like literally download it into your core space, into your gut mind, and act from that space.
Mm,
But that's the way that you are in alignment and authentic to what it is that you truly want, but also what it is that
yeah.
you feel you need to do to get there, and consider
Yeah.
it all. So I like
Mm,
that pose because I think
that's
that is
awesome.
missing. That body piece for us as a human, like society, I think is missing for people because they try to think their way forward or just feel their way
Yeah.
forward, which I think is important. But what about also embodying your way forward? Yeah.
The body has an attitude. It's so important
Mhm.
for your body to reflect
Mhm.
and be aligned. I love what you're saying there. There's a
Mhm.
formula or a mindset or a little tool that I use and I
Yeah.
share with.
Yeah.
And I heard it kind of in what you were saying too. Call it receive, reframe, respond.
Mm.
Right? You were talking about
Mhm.
the mind. I noticed that the head brain, what was going on. But the receiving is just like, whoa, it's like almost awareness, receive, like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what's happening here? Like, receive it. Don't reject it, but just receive it.
Yeah.
And then the reframe comes in, and the reframe is like, okay, what's my heart saying? Like, what is it that I desire, that I know is true, that I would like to create from this, that I want to be, or whatever it is. And so there's like okay, I received the thing. Okay, what's based on that desire? Okay, you take that desire and you reframe whatever it is that you're receiving.
Right.
And so it's like, how can I allow that to work for me? And
Right.
then now I respond. How do I respond in a way that supports my reframe? Right. So I received the thing, like, whoa. And it's like, but what's my desire? Okay. Getting in alignment. Okay. Let me reframe this thing to work for me. And then I take action out of my reframe.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, good. I'm going to take that bold action or that gentle action that supports my reframe, not the thing that kind of came in first. So I can move forward towards that direction.
Yes. Yeah, that's huge. And that is very aligned with exactly. It's so interesting the more and more I speak with everyone, especially who's been through that vulnerable space, who's been successful in finding your happiness. It's like, this is what it means to also understand your body's full intelligence, because it can seem like a very nebulous, ethereal thing sometimes. It's like, feel with your heart, think with your head. What does that mean? But take a moment to understand. And having the guidance from other people who are like-minded, who have done it, who have the training, like Fidel, you've been through it, experience, and this is what you do. You help people to understand it for themselves. It's huge. You don't have to do it alone. I say it because I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an independent person since a very young age. I've done it all myself up until last year when I went into this program and I started receiving this support, and I was like, wow, this is what I've been missing, like a community of people who understand, who are in my corner, who really, it's different than family and loved ones, but it's that whole body mind connection piece, like you were talking about. And perhaps people listening or seeing the video now have felt this way, where you have your goal, you have some semblance of success, you've been, you've made it to a certain extent, but you know that there is more, or at least that feeling of more. Perhaps this is that missing piece that would help you get that success in whatever way it looks like. Perhaps it is calling in support, specific support, to help you understand, to help you know what it means to be vulnerable and not have to do it alone. A coach is in your corner. It is a collaborative conversation, with someone who does get you and wants to help you get yourself, in a sense, So for you, there's many things going on right now. What are you currently focusing on? How are you supporting your community and your clients and all that good stuff right now in this moment with everything you're doing? Yeah.
There's all these different things, right?
I know, yeah.
The number one thing that's important to me though is how am I showing up here at home?
Yeah.
And remembering that this is still the life that I've wanted. This is the life I've been asking for, the life that I have right now, my family, the time that I get to enjoy with them and the kids, and to create space like right now. And when everyone is at home, I remember when I first wanted to go in business and thinking, I want time to do all the things. And right now we have time to do all of the things with the relationship. So still enjoying the life right now and knowing that, ta-da, we've arrived, like in a way, and trying to create that right here. Does that make any sense? So that's like a priority point for me right now, where I can still enjoy the life that I do have, and not take that for granted. Outside of that, I'm doing the things that light me up. And one of the things that light me up is giving and still being in connection with other people. Like, I love seeing people light up. I love seeing people move their way forward. I love seeing that spark happen in them. I love to create. And so what I've done is I've been teaching some virtual yoga, just online. And it's so cool because just like we can feel each other's energy right now, as I've been telling it to the people that show up on these calls, and to be able to teach to them in their home and speak to them and provide mindset, movement, meditation, and momentum with wherever they are right now, just right then and there. That's been super fun, just to see the shift and to support them in that particular area. And there's some other little mini programs and just motivation things I've been putting out as far as in social media, to support and to give to them, support them during this time. I'm also thinking about, it's not just about where we are right now, but where we're going, and keeping that in the forefront. How we show up right now in this time is important based upon where we're going.
Mhm.
And when we have a goal and a dream and a vision, and we know how we want to, what we want to look like, what we want life to look like beyond this time, it makes it easier to show up in this time because we know why it's important,
Yes.
right? So there's some retreats that I'm planning, for afterwards, how to get people recharged and back realigned and back into the world. That's on the radar. And there's also some virtual retreat and different experiences that I'm looking at and starting to provide right now.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. I agree with everything you're saying, from prioritizing right now as a busy entrepreneur. I hate saying that word, entrepreneur who's very full in my days, regardless. One of the things that I really appreciated in this time right now, like I mentioned earlier, I'm entering the end of my 3rd week of self-isolation. It's me and my hubby and my dog. And it's amazing
Mm,
because prioritizing family time, whatever that means for you, whether you feel like you're stuck at home with your parents or loved ones or people that, are your friends and family that you haven't been with 24/7 in this capacity, this is a really good opportunity to connect on a deeper level and to really have the time, like you said. How many times do we say, oh, if I only had the time to do this? Now is the time that you have to connect with your loved ones and your family and your friends. And even using like Zoom. So I've been connecting with other family members all over the country. I have family spread out everywhere. But it's interesting that now with this time that we're all affected by this pandemic globally, and we're all different parts of the self-isolation, social distancing, but a lot of us are already at home. So even with family outside of my home, connecting with them, and that's why I'm calling this together at home, because you don't have to be in the same home, but you can still be together with someone. And to your point of being able to feel someone's energy is still, it's amazing to hop on one of these virtual calls and still feel that connection, because I never experienced
yeah.
that to this level until now, being forced to connect in this way, because I can't go out and see people the way I once did, but I can still have that connection. I still see you, I'm real,
Yeah.
you're real, I'm here with you, Fidel, and everything you're doing. That's amazing. I can feel your energy right through the screen. So I'm just saying it for people who are a little skeptical about it, or you've never done it, just try it once. So I love that, also prioritizing family time, because um, that can also what's the word, satisfy that desire to be productive right now, because a lot of us have gone from working a lot to now just being at home, and that energy of how can I still be productive can rise up. So if you can start too with just be productive with your family. You have the time now to connect with them,
Mm,
whether you have kids or it's just you and your spouse or your friend or a loved one. Like, get into those conversations that you don't have time to. So I love that. And so the other point of focusing, you said something that made me think of, focusing ahead. So you're planning these amazing retreats, some of those things on the radar coming up. Sometimes I live in the land of envisioning. That's why I love this. But I always say, like, what you focus on will become your reality. So yes, if you're feeling like
mhm.
you're stuck at home right now, or there's a lot of uncertainty, that is true. And it is okay to feel that pain, feel that frustration, and also focus on what you're going to do when you come out of this. What are some of the things you look forward to? Because when you focus on that, that can become your reality right now. The energy of going on those retreats and what it looks like, the energy of,
Mhm.
what it would feel like to get back to work. And now you've learned how to do things a little differently, right? So I love all that you're saying, because trusting the process, right? What you brought up earlier is important. This is what it means to trust the process, is just going and do the thing. Try these different things. You have the time right now, right? And you can still set up those goals for some future stuff, and envisioning that and focusing on that and bringing that energy back to the present, the here, the now, and allowing that to kind of marinate within. So I love everything you're
Yes.
saying. So true, so helpful, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's huge. I mean, if I can add on to that a little bit, because you're just
Absolutely.
sparking so many different things.
Yeah.
How you show up today really does matter.
Hmm.
How you show up, how you feel matters, because this moment will pass.
Mm.
And where you'll be when this moment passes will be dependent upon how you've decided to show up today. And if you don't know how to show up today, I mean, it's that vision you talked about of, okay, well, but how do I, who do I want to be by the end of this process?
Right.
by this journey that we're going through. And
Yeah.
then going, what do we need to receive right now? Where can you reach out to find support, connection? And I think one of those first few steps is really just to acknowledge the desire that you have, acknowledge the need, acknowledge the whatever the thing that you feel that you don't have but would like to have, and just to be able to say, I have a desire for this. Even if you don't know how it's going to come in, even if you don't know, like, if it doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense, but because it's legitimate, it's coming from it to say, I need this. And
Mhm.
something happens when you put that out there, when you take the thing that you're thinking about, the thing that you're feeling about, and you give it words and you acknowledge it and you say this, now all of a sudden, forces around you get to work to present it and show it up to you. And you just have to say yes and to receive and be willing to that process and to show up. So it's, yeah, speak up for what you want, what you need, and just put it out there, because that desire matters and it needs to have a voice. And you talked about uncertainty. For every uncertainty that you find yourself in, find certainty in something. Find certainty in yourself. Find certainty in
Wow.
support. Find a reason of something that you could be certain about to create that balance.
Mhm.
Or forget the balance, but to tilt the scales so you feel more certain about your future, about what you're coming up with, because you have way more control than you think.
Yeah.
All right, this is your life, this is your stage. You get to set the stage, you get to call the acts and all the different things. So remember, you can choose your thoughts, you can create your world, you can do something about anything about for where you are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like wrapping up everything that you're saying, I think so backing up for someone who wants to move forward, that vulnerability piece is a big starting point. And then the more that after that, the more that you just allow your true authentic self to be expressed, thoughts, feelings, learn how to act upon that in alignment. And you learn that the more that you do that, then the more that you get to express those things in yourself, the less you will be suppressed and feel like you're not being yourself. And then the more that you will actually gain that validation, almost that this is the right path. This feels right. This is what it feels like to do something that is truly authentic and right for me. And I feel like that is where the trust the process can become stronger, because this is part of the process, right? That expansion, that contraction, that not
Yeah.
knowing, that knowing, getting to know yourself, right? There's that back and forth thing that happens, but this is what it means to trust that process, is just go through it. Start with that vulnerability piece. And in the beginning, that's when that trust will have to be huge, and maybe you won't be able to see that vision very clearly, but you can be very clear in how you want to feel, right? So maybe in the beginning, it's more about
Yes.
feeling. And then as you continue taking these little steps, right? These micro shifts, those are the small stepping stones that eventually will get you to where you thought you were going in the beginning. But then when you get to that point, you realize it's more expansive than you could have ever imagined. And it starts with starting, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, it's good. You just have to be willing.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing,
Right.
and then just to decide. You just have to decide to be willing and saying, okay,
Yeah.
and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Allow
Yeah.
yourself to be caught. You
Yes,
know.
exactly. So I love all of this. For everyone who wants to connect more with Fidel and all the amazing things you're doing, I'm going to have all the links to Fidel and how to find him and everything in the bio on the podcast. So thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your time, and diving in deep. Even in that small amount of time, it can be done. It feels good and light. It doesn't have to be all tears and sweat and all that. So thank you. I really appreciate you joining me today, Fidel.
Thanks for having me here.